Okay, we rolling?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to call the Albany Selectmen's meeting for May 22nd, 2024 to order at 4 o'clock.
Round one, June.
This is the one.
Oh,
It's
June
both sides.
12th. It's June 12th.
What did I say? Would you please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's why there's three of us, John. Right? We'll keep going. Okay. Oh, it's big, that's why it didn't look right. Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 22nd Selectmen's meeting minutes and the June 4th non-public minutes as presented.
second that, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the June 2nd, 2024 consent file, review and sign manifest in the amount of $119,197.12, $9,791.09, and $10,476.73. This includes an accounts payable and payroll manifest for 5/29/65 and 6/12 of 2024. Review, discuss, and approve or deny the residential building permit for closet and mechanical room at 1549 Passaconaway Road. Review, discuss, and approve or deny the residential building permit for a mud room at 1549 Passaconaway Road. Review, discuss, and approve or deny the renewal of a residential building permit or remodel replacement of rotten portions of 10 Red Path Road. Review, discuss, and approve or deny the residential building permit for remodel or enlargement of a front porch entry at 72 Tabor Circle. Review, discuss, and approve or deny local approval for construction of individual sewage disposal system for MAP 9, Lot 139 on Moatview Drive. Review, discuss, approve or deny residential building permit to remodel a salon at 1952 New Hampshire Route 16 into a 3-bedroom single-family residence.
I move to approve the consent file as presented.
I second.
Okay. Do we have to look at some of these? You're okay with all of them?
I reviewed them all. I don't think there's any issues with any of them.
The salon slash,
Yeah, David.
Yep.
David, Pandora reviewed the septic requirements, so the letter didn't get sent and it meets the requirements.
okay, yeah, good, everything's good. All right, all in favor of approving the consent file? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
We're on to C, review, discuss, and approve or deny a residential building permit for a carport at 72 Tabor Circle.
I move to deny the permit for the carport at 72 Tabor.
I second it.
Any discussion?
So it doesn't meet Albany zoning ordinance setback.
All in favor of the denial?
Aye.
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 Review, discuss, and name private roads in the Curview Estates subdivision from recommendations from owner.
I move to table that until the June 26th meeting,
I second that.
because they've only supplied one name for one road.
Okay.
The names they had for the loop was denied by 911,
Yeah.
and they need to present us with another name.
Okay.
I did email them on May 27th or 28th, and then I haven't heard from them, so I emailed them again today, trying to get some more names.
All in favor of tabling that?
Aye.
Aye. review, discuss, and adopt the 2024 updated local hazard mitigation plan as approved by FEMA, sent out under separate, tabled at the 5/22/2024 Selectmen's meeting.
I move that we approve that, adopt it.
So you have to read the resolution into the record.
Is that,
What's the resolution?
I included it in your packet. It's,
It's the big thick one.
it's these four, it's these. There's the resolution.
once again, you're double stapled there.
How much of this do we have to read into the thing?
You have to say where is its result, like you have to
Yeah.
read that resolution and then vote affirmatively.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll move the certificate of adoption for Albany, New Hampshire, a resolution adopting the Albany, New Hampshire Hazard Mitigation Plan Update 2024. Whereas the town of Albany has historically experienced severe damage from natural hazards, and it continues to be vulnerable to the effects of those natural hazards profiled in this plan, resulting in loss of property and life, economic hardship, and threats to the public health and safety. And whereas the town of Albany has received approved pending adoption status from the Federal Emergency Management Agency for its Hazard Mitigation Plan Update 2024 under the requirements of Section 44 CFR 201.6, and whereas public and committee meetings were held between September 7th, 2022 and May 17th, 2023 regarding the development and review of the Hazard Mitigation Plan Update 2024, and whereas the plan specifically addresses hazard mitigation strategies and plan maintenance procedures for the town of Albany, and whereas the plan recommends several hazard mitigation actions/projects that will provide mitigation for specific natural hazards that impact the town of Albany with the effect of protecting people and property from loss associated with those hazards. And whereas adoption of this plan will make the town of Albany eligible for funding to alleviate the impacts of future hazards now, and therefore be it resolved by the Select Board, the plan is hereby adopted as an official plan for the town of Albany. The respective officials identified in the mitigation action items of the plan are hereby directed to pursue the implementation of the recommended actions assigned to them. And the future revisions and plan maintenance required by 44 CFR 201.6 and FEMA are hereby adopted as part of this resolution for 5 years from the date of this resolution. The Emergency Management Director shall present an annual report on the progress of the plan's action items. Adopted this day, June 12th, 2024.
Did you guys all sign the original?
I did.
Did you do that? Yeah. We need a second to this motion.
I second the motion.
You need to
All in favor?
Aye.
That helped out. Review and sign the appointment form for Selectman Rick Highland to serve as representative to the Lower Mount Washington Valley Solid Waste District Committee. This was approved already by the Board of Selectmen on 5/22. Do we need a motion for that?
No,
You don't
you're-
need
we
one,
already
you've
approved it.
already
All we have to
Just
do
need
is
you to
sign
sign
it,
the
which
appointment
is
form.
on the
Should
appointment.
be in there, okay. Review and sign New Hampshire DRA form regarding inventories. Review, discuss, and sign New Hampshire DRA form applications for reimbursement to towns in which federal forest land is situated. Review, we did that, right?
I move to, table that to later meetings.
The forced,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Actually, I've already taken one of the inventory lists and added some things to it.
Okay.
For the forest,
For the what?
for the federal forest land, or are you on?
EOP.
No, we're not there yet.
G?
We're on,
I think you skipped G.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. You
Maybe.
read, review and sign the DRA form for regarding inventories, and then you read, review, discuss, and sign New Hampshire DRA form. He skipped the EOC alert list.
I went to eight, I went from G and H. We can go back to.
We're on G right now.
No, I read down to
Oh.
I. So go back to G.
So you want to table G?
Go on to table G.
It's
Yeah,
not
there's
due
that,
immediately, it's something we have to work on.
There's stuff in there that is no longer.
I know.
Did anybody second his motion to
I
table?
I second it.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, J.
I'm just trying, I'm not rushing, I'm
Oh,
just
no,
trying to
no,
move things
I'm
along.
going too fast. We got plenty of, more than enough.
Well, no, Jim wanted a 12-minute meeting.
It's been done. We've beaten that easy.
I'm only kidding.
On to J. Review, discuss, and sign agreement for property owners of Albany continue to send septic,
It should be send septic.
send septic waste to North County Water Precinct wastewater treatment facility.
I moved to sign the agreement.
Yeah, I second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Review and discuss March and April bank account reconciliations as completed by the treasurer.
Can we move that? Yeah, let's table that.
I'll bring them, I meant to put the book on your desk and I forgot.
I move to table K. Until
I'll
the
second
next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Review, discuss, and appoint code enforcement officer for the town of Albany.
I'll make a motion.
I second that. How did it go?
Went well.
Yeah.
Yep, he'd like to do it.
Yeah.
He's experienced.
Yeah.
He did that for, Hunter,
Yeah.
and, it kind of fits what he's already doing to some degree.
Yep.
And it'll help, he's familiar with the paperwork, he's willing to do that. That'll take some load off of,
Oh, absolutely.
the town administrator. We talked, money, and, we're gonna, the proposal would be to start at $100 additional to his fee that he gets monthly,
Okay.
with a review in 90 to 120 days.
So it's gonna be a
Not- I mean,
separate position with, he's not gonna have one position with the town.
Multiple positions. He's the administrator for building permits, he'll be the code enforcement officer, and he's also the health officer, so.
We'll keep them all separate.
He's gonna add the $100 into his building permit because we
Right.
don't have the position. We
Yep.
don't have a line item for it, so
Mhm.
it's gonna just get added into
Yeah.
that. Next year, I'll separate all three of them
Yeah.
out, so you
That
can
way, if
at
you
least.
can't do one anymore, it doesn't screw the whole thing up.
Right.
Right. And we'll reevaluate it, cause, you know, and Jim jump in on it if you want. We don't know what it's gonna entail for
Oh, I
Tom.
know. I think it's gonna be more than we imagine.
If we're gonna follow up on building permits and that sort of thing, and, you know, dealing with the couple of items that we already have,
Yeah.
it's gonna be, I think, more busy this time of the year because it's nice weather. The winter,
Yeah.
I mean, people don't do a whole lot of outside stuff anyways in the winter.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
you know, and we'll reevaluate it at a later date.
Is it effective immediately
I,
on our signatures?
I would effectively,
Yeah, I've already got some stuff, I'm gonna ask you for my stuff to send to him, so it would say, yeah, effective.
Great.
and
That's
there's a
good.
form, there's you know, an assignment form
Yeah.
in the pile there,
Excellent.
so.
That's great.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, we're back on track again. Town administrator's report.
So I provided you with the, January 1 to May 31st expenditure and revenue reports, look pretty good. Motor vehicles down a little bit, but Pullman does a lot in October and November, so it's hard to get a handle on it right now. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with where expenditures and revenue are right now. If you guys, you know, take it under advisement and have any questions, like when you get a chance to go through it, let me know.
Okay.
So last week my husband had surgery and I emailed you guys for a consensus on taking Wednesday, June 5th off. So I'm just having you, after the fact, sign the absenteeism report. I said I would take a vacation day. Selectman Bruin and Selectman Highland were meeting about something else and mentioned that they might be willing to let me have the day without using vacation day, so I put it on the agenda.
I would make a motion to pay her regular day's pay. It was an emergency,
Yeah. No, that's just,
I'm a believer in family comes first.
that's proper.
She also took the laptop home and didn't work it. Probably in the hospital, in the downtime and whatnot, so that would
I
be-
always know that you come through, and I never have a problem giving you any time you need, because I know that you don't leave us in a lurch, and your family is first. So even if you did leave us in a lurch, we'd be okay.
Families first.
Well, if I was leaving in the lurch, I would tell you
And you would, and
Well-
that's,
what was missing, but
it,
it just worked out okay that
it's never an even
he had the
question.
stroke on a weekend and the surgery was on Wednesday, so it worked out okay. I appreciate that. Not worrying about money too helps.
No.
So the last thing, I have
There's a motion on the table.
I second it, and all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So C for me is review and discuss report of the dog bite on May 29th. This opened a whole can of worms other than the dog bite. I would always make you guys aware of that because we have some responsibilities, or the town clerk does, about if a minor is bitten, we're supposed to be able to tell the parents of the minor or the person that's bitten, if it's an adult, whether the dog had a rabies shot or not. I don't believe the dog was licensed, but the sheriff's department was able to determine that the dog did have its rabies shot, so the person whose kid got bit was notified of that. But this opened up a whole another can of worms on our responsibilities for dog licensing and the town clerk's responsibility there. So I did send her out a memo asking between June 1st and June 20th, she's supposed to provide you with a list of the unlicensed dogs from last year. And then 20 days from June, the Board of Selectmen has from 20 days from June 20th, which just happens to be July 10th this year, to submit that either to an animal control officer or the sheriff's department to have
Yeah, I saw that.
those people contacted to license their dogs, and they're supposed to get a $25 fine. And so she also has in her software, she's able to send letters, which might be acceptable too. But this all brought up for me because we have some responsibilities that I wasn't sure weren't falling through the cracks. This whole thing about having an animal control officer. So I have reached out to the animal control officer in Conway, and she is going to come meet with you on July 10th. I didn't book it for June 26th because you have a special town meeting right after your selectmen's meeting to fix my date mistake on the warrant, and I didn't want to compress that time. But I did mention this to her as well, that we might have a representative from the sheriff's department, because I think it's important that the animal control officer, the sheriff's department, and you three, including me, and maybe even the town clerk, be on the same page
Right.
with these responsibilities we have about licensing dogs and fines and dogs running at large and nuisance dogs, because the story I heard about this dog that bit somebody down in the trailer park was that this dog had bit somebody before, but we don't have a summons for that, so it's not a second offense, which it should have been if it had. My understanding was the dog bit somebody before, and she was willing to give the dog away, so she rehomed the dog, but now the dog's back and now it's bit a minor. So there's some, I don't have that first report. I don't know if the sheriff didn't do it. I don't know what the contact was. So we have to figure out what we want the animal control officer to do, what the town clerk needs to do, what the sheriffs, because the sheriffs still need to back her up. If, for example, there's a rabid animal that needs to be shot, or, you know, it's not just about dogs. Our big thing, we've had 3 dog bites in 5 years. And there are, like I said, there's responsibilities that we're supposed to be following through, and I'm not sure we really are doing a very great job at that. But also it's, you know, if you have a bat in your house, she can send that to the state lab. If, you know, there's a rabid fox in your yard, you know, so she needs sheriff backup, and, or if the sheriffs aren't on duty, then I assume Conway. So she gets dispatched in Conway from the Conway PD.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody has access to her, she's not on their website or anything, so we have to figure out how she will get dispatched from us, which I assume will be through the sheriff's department. So we just have to, I think it's good to have, I don't know if Sheriff Rishardi will come or send his captain or his lieutenant or whomever, it doesn't really matter, as long as we all look each other in the eye and know what the process is gonna be, and then, you know, we'll take it up with her what she thinks a fair compensation is, because I don't even really know. Again, 3 dog bites in 5 years. I don't know what the sheriffs have picked up for stray dogs, because they don't necessarily share that with me. So I don't even know. She's gonna have to give us some idea of what a fair compensation would be. But I set that up for you for July 10th, so we'll get on that.
We used to have a dog officer.
Yeah, Joanne Gayer, when I
Right.
first came here, we were giving her a stipend every month. I can't remember if it was $100 or $200 a month, but we didn't have any dog calls for 2 years, and then
Yeah.
she was gonna resign, because she also did Ossipee. And then she came back to me and said, hey, Ossipee's willing to pay me on an on-call basis. They're gonna pay me $50 a call and mileage. And I said, we'd be willing to do that, and we had 1 call. I paid her $50 in the next 2 years. So we don't, one thing I will say is that Liz Lord, who we're gonna be looking at on July 10th, said that she used to do 1 or 2 calls a week, and now she's doing 2 calls a day. So dog and animal calls in general have picked up. I just don't know how much they've picked up for Albany, because the sheriffs generally deal with it, and unless it's a bite, we don't necessarily know.
What would she deal with? We had one up on Abenaki.
She would have dealt.
She would deal with
Yeah,
it.
she would have shepherded through that process,
Right.
and you know, written the letters and then shared with me, so that the people, because the neighborhood up there was pretty up in arms about that
Right.
before it even happened.
Right.
And again, you know, she'll need backup from the sheriff's department, because, you know, heaven forbid the dog attacks her, or let's say the owners are unruly, or, you know,
Right.
she needs law enforcement backup, so.
Now, the other question I have is, what about equipment?
So I think
Do we need to get her a kennel, or?
I think we should take that up with her. She works, I believe, full-time, or again, part-time for Conway Humane Society. So she may have access to that,
Okay.
because that's where we have a contract with them too, and that's where our animals would go, so that kind of works out well. But I think we take that up with her. You know, I know that in other towns I've worked in, we had shared an animal control officer, and we paid half of the rabies series for them, and the other town paid half. Or, you know, we went in on, you know, catch poles, or if a kennel got ruined, or, you know, we went in on the equipment.
Because I think we had paid for a kennel.
I can
with
reach out to
this
Joanne
level.
Gayer, but I don't have, there's nothing here, and I've never seen
Yeah.
anything. I didn't purchase any, so I don't know. I can reach out to Joanne and see if she has any equipment that belongs to us.
Yeah, well, I would say do that. And if you do that prior to that meeting, we can kinda coordinate and get it all done all at the same time.
So that's all I had on the agenda, but I do have, so Mr. Schultz from 46 Johnson Road provided pictures of all the stuff. He took the deck off, he took the kitchen out, he took the bathroom out. He did say the toilet and the vanity are stored in there, but they're not connected. He disconnected the gas, he disconnected the plumbing. He's waiting for Eastern Propane to come and get
That was a shed.
Did you see that? See the floor?
come and get the propane tank. That's the only thing that isn't,
Look,
That's a shit.
it's a heck of a shed.
Well, he's doing the right thing.
so I just want your permission to send, he put in an email that we have permission to go on the property, and he gave us the code to his gate. And this is unlocked right now. He just asked that we lock it up behind us. Is it okay to send David out there just to eyeball it?
Well, we turned it over to the attorney who wrote a letter directly to him. Maybe we ought to check with Matt first and.
Okay, so I've already checked with Matt. Matt got all these from Mr. Schultz too, because he
And-
doesn't want the $275 a day. So you just want me to ask Matt if we should send?
Just clear it through Matt.
Okay.
I don't wanna get into a legal snafu.
When Mr.
we
Schultz came in, he
jumped
wanted
in.
to know why this gentleman on 9 Hillside was allowed to build a 2-car garage that he doesn't believe is a 2-car garage. So this gentleman, Mr. Arsenault, had a building permit for a 2-bay garage, and he built this. Our assessment card says it does not appear to be heated or finished upstairs yet, but I think that since we got a complaint from Mr. Schultz, it's only fair that we
Yeah,
send our code enforcement officer out there to look at that.
yeah.
Well, his building permit only says a single-story garage.
It says
That's a 2-story.
a 32 by 28 garage, 19 feet high, 1.5 stories, but that's full on 2 stories.
That's
and-
more than 19 feet.
And then the other thing is I'm not gonna say he lied on his building permit, but he checked the box that he met the 25-foot setbacks, but then in the drawing, he says it's between 10 and 30 feet, and 10 feet doesn't meet our setback requirement. So I never caught that, and neither did Peter Carboni, but that doesn't meet the, he checked the box that says he meets the setbacks, but then this says 10 to 30 feet from the road, so
Let's get it straightened out.
10 to 30 feet is
I would
not a-
suggest that we send
Yeah.
Dave out there to verify
Well, if he's
all
going out,
this.
he's probably going out for the next one too, right?
And put it under old business to deal with at a future meeting.
Yeah.
I also have an as-built, so you guys approved this septic, and I just got this morning. You approved this septic on March 11th, but they had to turn the D-box around, and DES is making them get a whole new permit so that they know that the town knows what actually went in. So they provided an as-built plan, and then just asked if you would approve that again. And it's not on the agenda because I just got it this morning, but I'd like to kind of close the loop on that, if you're okay with making a motion to,
I'd make a
Yeah.
motion to approve that
I second that.
per the DES.
All in favor?
Aye.
is that you or me?
Reminding me I have a selectman meeting first.
Well, good.
That's 4:30.
That's all I had.
Gotta keep that.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I don't like to add all that.
That's
At the end,
alright.
but
We can have that back too.
I also don't like to come out of the meeting already having stuff for the next meeting.
Does, I see these in the pile, does Rick need to be sworn in?
Sure, you wanna do that?
Didn't get all dressed up for nothing.
It was on the agenda,
Oh, you just,
it was the one that you had,
You got it?
oh yeah, you could swear in, that would be
Yeah.
lovely, because that would save the town clerk of stuff. You wanna have him
Yeah.
swear at you?
I swear.
you wanna read this? Or do you have to repeat after me?
Let me read it to you.
Right there.
I, Richard Hylett, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent in me as representative of Albany to the LMWVSWDC to the best of my abilities, agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God. I do.
Very good. And I guess David Pandora's gonna have to get sworn in.
We could get any selectman to swear him in as not to hold him up.
Yeah.
You know what I'll do, when I send these to him, I'll ask him if there's a day he's gonna be in town and see if you can run over and
Have
swear
him
in.
stop by my house.
Okay, yeah, cause he's gotta go out to a couple of things probably, so
Yeah.
if he's
Yeah.
in town that day, I'll have him,
Have him snoop
I'll see
around
if
down
you're
there a little
available.
bit.
I'll see if you're available to get, I'll
We'll
send
check
you
him
a
while he's on site.
form and you can just sign it.
A little snooping around that garage down there, see what's going on.
The what?
Have him snoop around while he's down there.
Sure.
Snoop around Rick Highland,
Yeah.
Take all the,
but
Is
that's
he-
taking a liking.
You'll have more pictures of him than I'll have pictures of you. Okay.
hey, I did it all by the rules.
You did. That's the way to do it. We did that.
You don't have any appointments?
Okay. We're gonna be doing the old business here in a couple minutes.
Mhm.
We're gonna meet at 5:15 to discuss how this meeting is expected to go.
I never got a notice for it.
Well, that's gonna be my first question,
Oh, okay.
because I didn't either. And I don't know who did.
Well, apparently Madison did.
See, I have a PO box, so I thought maybe they went to physical addresses, which could be.
I didn't get one.
No, he said that he said he was worried about that from the last one, so he dropped off 4,000 postcards at the Madison and the Conway post offices and asked that post office boxes and rural routes get it, but I don't think, the town hall didn't get it either, so either all the 16 got Sandy's addresses to Town Hall Road, she didn't get one.
So it wasn't a
Sean
mailing
Wadsworth.
list, it was to residents?
It was supposed to be
It was
to
a
everybody
butters
that
to
lives in,
16 is what it was,
it was
right?
supposed to be everybody that lives in Albany that had either a rural route, box delivery, or a post office box. But I don't,
On Route 16 or everybody in town?
everybody in
Really?
town, that's why he gave 4,000, I mean, there's
Yeah.
only 739 people.
People.
I don't know how many addresses, she sends out 885 tax bills, but a lot of those go to out of state. Look at, something happened, because,
Well, this isn't on us, it's on them, and we're gonna get some progress here today. That's important.
well, it's important to let him know too, that if his mailing was faulty and this public hearing is required for like rumble strips, if that tries to go through and people weren't notified, then his public hearing is faulty. So it's only fair to share the information with him.
We will.
I mean, I support what they're trying to do, except the rumble strips. Should we take a vote of the select board to do away with rumble strips? I don't think they
We
do a bit
can.
of good. Anything.
I don't think they do either, but,
I make a
I don't know.
motion that we request that they remove that from their plans.
I'll second that. Well, I think we can, as a board, express to them that
Yeah, that's all.
we don't feel it's
that's all.
necessary for the town.
You
I mean,
know,
we're talking for the town's safety, not just our own personal, don't like to hear the
I
noise.
realize that, it's more of an annoyance than anything
I
else.
know.
I mean, you know, when Kathy Ryan was a select person, they put the one in the Madison stretch there, she can hear it all the way to her house,
Oh, I know they can hear that up in
you
Wildwood.
know, and, I don't think it does a bit of good. They need to do a lot more work to the road.
Yeah.
They need to widen it a little bit, and they need to put some turning lanes in.
Rumble strips actually do work. They do stop
well-
head-on accidents. They
well-
have documentation and studies from that,
There
but
was an accident in Madison, a few years back, at the bottom of the hill where the 3 lanes are, okay? Didn't help that person at all.
I didn't say they stopped all head-on accidents. I said they've been proven to
Well,
help.
I guess my view on it is
Unlike
it'd be more
lowering
of a
speed limits.
town decision thing than a select board decision.
All we're doing is recommending,
Yeah, we're not saying we're not,
Right.
you're not doing it,
you know?
but it would sway, and,
And just for your information, Mark McConkey did get, I believe, the 45 speed limit thing attached to another bill that's gonna be voted on tomorrow. Just for your information.
that was the second thing I was gonna say.
Oh,
I
okay.
asked Mark.
I didn't mean to,
No, that wasn't about, but
but it's gonna be voted on tomorrow.
I asked Mark to come to the pre-meeting, he's gonna be here at 5:15.
Yeah.
I want him to be part of this whole thing, and I'd like him to sit at our table to field any questions. I think it's important to see the people we have representing this project, and Mark
Yep.
right now is really hot on getting some things done. So he's informed with everything, and to go back to what you were saying, the rumble strips, I think I hear more people speak out against them than for them, so that's
I
why
do
I
too.
vote with you to.
Yeah.
And it's just our recommendation. It's like anything else. We can recommend it, but it's up to the town to.
I'd rather them spend that money on speed limit signs.
And you don't have to vote with that.
Yeah,
You don't want to. I'm gonna go all in favor and say aye to that.
I vote in favor of
Nay.
it.
That's fine. The other part is before they, I mean, they thought they'd be here setting up, and no, they're not here, right?
they're out there.
Oh, they're.
If they do put them in, I'm gonna record them and I'm gonna find the guy that's
Just
responsible
go
for
fill
it.
in.
And, no,
Late
I'm gonna go play the recording in front of his house every night.
There's enough noise in this road without added noise. And
It's-
the other question I'm gonna have is, and I've asked this question, but I don't believe it's true. There's a lot of Jake brake activity going on, engine brake and very loud. And I was told that the state doesn't do anything about it for their road because there's a lot of vehicles that are loud, so they can't police all that. But as a town, can we have an ordinance?
Yes,
I don't see why we can't, right?
and the reason I say that is when I lived in Bow, I was on the budget committee down there. And we passed an ordinance on River Road going down to the Bow Power Plant. Goes through a residential neighborhood. And they put up signs and banned Jake brakes because a lot of truck traffic goes down through.
Is that a state road?
No, it's a town road.
So I think you can do it in town roads, but I don't think it'll apply to 16.
But it's still our town though, it's noise in our town.
It's our main
That's
street.
why I'm
Right, but
saying,
you don't have any jurisdiction over state roads. I think you should ask the Department of Safety.
That's why I
if
wanna
it's
ask them
applicable.
No, let's talk to Mark
okay,
and see if legislation, you know, if you want any legislation put into the next session, you have to start probably in August.
yeah,
Cause that's when the bills, what they call the LSRs,
yeah,
get put into place. You can specifically get something for Albany. You can also do the speed limit there too.
Well, first I would check to see that you can, because I'm
Yeah.
not positive you can. I'm just guessing that it would not apply to the state roads.
right, I don't know, it's still our town, even if it's their
Plus,
road.
how,
They
how,
don't own the
Legis-
air above it.
how are you gonna notify
legislation.
people and how are you gonna
Enforce it.
enforce it?
You put signs up.
You put signs and enforcement like anything else. If someone, you can hear that, I mean, it's loud, when they set those,
I know
especially
this, but
and it's
the
usually one
sheriffs don't
person.
sit here listening for Jake
Well,
brakes.
if they can see a speeder, they can hear a Jake brake.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, if we don't act on it, then
If
We're
you
not-
stop the few trucks, especially the regular ones,
Mhm.
okay, they all have CB radios, they all communicate.
they do. And if truckers typically don't wanna get a ticket.
No,
They don't want a mark on their
And the
license, so if they
companies
see a
that-
sign that potentially they could get in trouble for it, they're not gonna do it. The majority wouldn't, so that's my thought on that, and I've heard a couple other people speak out against the noise that especially in certain places where it echoes through the canyon here.
But you can get legislation specifically for the town of Albany.
And we may be getting some, maybe speaking out of turn, but we should be getting some information at this meeting tonight that they may have found more funding. Quite a bit more funding. So I'm not gonna speak to a number or anything, but if it's gonna have a lot to do with the outcome of this meeting tonight. That's why I've been very amped up on this meeting, that this needs to be productive, because the state, the people that are here today have to make a decision on how they're gonna move forward.
Now, just a question for you on that. Is this pertaining to the 10-year plan through Albany, or does that include the intersection
No,
of 113?
road only.
Road only.
Yeah.
I'd push for turning lanes, widen it enough in areas for
He
turning lanes.
said that if this works, then we're gonna do a good job. So
You know,
we'll hear
I
it
mean,
out
it's-
tonight. That's all I have.
I think
but
turning lanes and,
Yeah.
and signage for them
I don't wanna put the cart
That's a
before the
pretty
horse.
open,
I know,
No,
but
it
it-
is.
and-
No, I
good
know.
job,
but on another one,
what
and
that
you,
means to them.
and you probably got the notification that the way that moved forward with the intersection at 113 is to start it on the 10-year plan, because unless there's a plan that's not getting looked at, even if it's not the final plan, we have to put a plan, and we're gonna go with the engineering by HEB for a start. Present that to the 10-year plan, and because it's on everyone's radar as a safety intersection,
It might get bumped up.
it's got, that's what I'm hearing from a lot of different people, that it's primed to get bumped up, but we need to get it in there, get it in the pile, and then it should get moved to the top. So at some point,
Well, you know, the question I have is the intersection down by the county complex down there.
yeah, no one can answer that question for me either, why that was done on
The
a,
traffic
well-
circle,
yeah, it was
Well-
approved on a Thursday and done on a Friday.
Yeah, I know, and
that was after that old couple and their dog got killed,
Yeah,
and the 17-year-old girl.
yeah. So, I guess it's something.
could legislation be put in specifically for that? I know it'd have to go through finance at the state, but
Well, we're gonna
that's
have the
something,
right-
that's something that we need, we probably should get Mark in here. He could answer a lot of these questions, I'm
He-
sure.
Yeah,
Or Jeff, well,
well, we'll
Jeff
bend
might not be as up on roads as Mark is.
we'll bend his ear a bit tonight.
I think they're telling you, you need to fill out that 10-year paperwork so that it's on somebody's radar.
Right.
That way they can bump it up to any place else it may be feasible, but if you don't have anything in writing, they have nothing
That's right.
to bump up.
And as we have an engineered plan,
Will
not a
NCC,
design, but it's a
will
plan.
NCC do that for us,
Yeah, well, they'll help us with it,
that paperwork?
yeah, and it's not very, he says, it's not a lot, the initial paperwork, which I hate saying, but he
Yeah.
said any problem, and Nick's gonna be here tonight, so I'm gonna talk to him some more about that. He sent me, he didn't send you anything?
Yeah, I've got 2 sets of it.
Yeah, so there's paperwork involved, but
As a matter of fact, one of them is in your packet tonight.
I looked at the paperwork for the last 10-year plan, and there wasn't a lot to it.
No.
It's mostly a questionnaire right now,
Yeah.
and just attach the HEB thing, but, I mean, I can do that much, but
Yeah,
every time somebody says you won't have to do a thing, it winds up,
no, and
Wait,
When
or-
is the due date to get it on the 10-year plan? There's gotta be a deadline somewhere.
I think it's the end of June.
I guess it's not. in
Yeah.
here. I thought it was in
I-
here.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the end of June, but again.
And it gets submitted through the North Country Council, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it
Why
gets-
don't we put in a formal request to them to include it in the 10-year plan?
That's what we have.
They've sent us the form to
Yeah.
do that. They don't do it for us, I guess, I have to do it. I think I have that HEB plan though. I thought I put that 10-year plan thing in here.
If
Here
you
it
don't,
is.
I have the plan.
Yeah, here's the solicitation.
Do we need an approval here?
No, it's
Not
on
yet.
the agenda under correspondence.
Oh, we didn't get there yet.
July 3rd, Wednesday, July 3rd, 2020. Completed project proposal form either by hard copy or electronically by Wednesday, July 3rd.
See what it entails. If it's too much, let me know and I'm gonna talk to Nick again tonight and say, we don't, I'm telling you now, we want your help.
It's not that. It's just a few boxes to fill out,
Yeah.
and basically I'm gonna say CHEB's proposal,
Yeah.
because I don't know anything about it, and I
Yeah.
don't wanna,
I think the only thing pertinent was it asked why. Why do we think it needs to be done? And it's just a few simple words.
yeah, it's
Safety.
a dangerous
Dangerous
intersection.
intersection.
Dangerous for so many
Safety,
reasons.
safety, so.
Yeah.
Alright, review and discuss the final financial report for the year ending December 31, 2023.
So I have this hard copy and electronically, if anybody would like to peruse it at their leisure, I can scan it and email it to you.
I would like that, if you don't mind.
Email.
Okay.
Review and discuss the 2023 audit management letter.
So there's no surprises here.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's,
Everything's in order.
Yeah, do 'em all. Review and discuss Charter Communications quarterly franchise fee payment notice.
So, this payment was $1,503, I think. And the one before it was like $1,593, so we're up to about $3,100 for half a year. So we're on track to collect what we did last year, about $6,000.
Okay.
Same old, no surprises there either.
Yes, sir.
On another subject, at a previous meeting, I was gonna look into the insurance with Primex and the school district.
Yes.
It's in process right now. We haven't got a definitive answer yet because the person I'm dealing with over at the SAU misunderstood the conversation I had with Kevin. I spoke with him yesterday.
Yeah.
Physically spoke with him. He understands now exactly what we're trying to do. He thinks it's a great idea.
Okay.
And it'll be reciprocal either way
Okay.
and save us any hassle in the future. And I'll keep you posted on it.
Great. Do you have anything, Jim?
And the-
Planning board, I'm sorry.
And then the other thing is, I mentioned to you that I'd look at the building
Yeah.
permit. I have done some research on it myself. I've done a draft copy that I've given to the town administrator to look at, and she's gonna forward it to Dave for his input on it,
Okay.
and it's in progress.
I sent it to David, once he gets back any suggestions or changes, and I have a couple questions for Rick, a couple things to add and a couple things maybe to take away.
I'm just the author, I'm not.
Yeah, no.
I will send it, when we're ready to look at it and adapt it, then I'll send it out. So the, changing the fee, if for a reapplication would require a public hearing, because we can't change fees without that. You can change the permit form without it, but you can't change the, so I kind of put that on the back burner for now. But before we adopt a new form, I'll put it on an agenda and send it out to all of you so you can see like the final draft of the changes.
Okay.
So yeah, on the planning board on Monday, I talked to him about Dave Pandora and what the plan was with him to follow through. And one of the reasons being our situation with
Habitat.
the Johnson development issue that we have there, and discussed that we need to more define dwelling or whatever the wording is.
Shed.
Shed. Yeah. Define
Well,
shed or dwelling or residence or, you know, so.
Geez, even if you said a shed does not include a kitchen or a bathroom, would be.
Yeah,
What
even-
constitutes living in
Yeah,
non-living
you
space?
know.
Well, let me just say this, because I was around on the planning board when we did ADUs,
Mhm.
and I think there's a definition in there what they consider living.
Okay.
Yeah, really, a shed that you're living in is an
You could
ADU.
use that kind of language, just
So-
FYI.
That's
Right.
true, because it's a second
Yeah.
dwelling.
Really, once you put a kitchen and a bathroom in it and you let your 87-year-old mother
But
stay
is
there
that
for a week,
where
it becomes an ADU.
But technically, is that where the line's drawn, so like we would
Well,
have.
we have a
double-
definition for an ADU, maybe what we do
But-
is do a definition for a shed.
But the when I looked at it, the ADU didn't really describe it. My question is, if I have a shed and I wanna put a slop sink out there, can I do that? I mean, or
You're
a
right.
barn and I have a
Yeah.
slop sink out there. So at what point of these things that you put out there, okay, so I got a barn and I got a slop sink and now I wanna have a bathroom out there. I mean, at what point
Yeah.
do we now consider it ADU? Or dwelling
think-
or?
I don't, as I recall for like Wakefield, there was specific language in there that said it could have a bathroom or a kitchen, but not both. So, you know,
Yeah.
If you
because
have a
people
kitchen,
put,
you need a bathroom.
people generally put bathrooms in bunkhouses, but not necessarily kitchens. You know, some people want, you know, to have a toaster oven and a refrigerator in their garage is their workshop. So I don't know. I think that's where we need you to just send it to the planning board and let
Right,
the planning board research other towns
And that's their plan right now, is to take that and we're gonna run with it.
and see what works for other
Try to figure
towns,
that out,
because
right.
we just don't have
Yeah,
anything, so we get to, rather than recreate the wheel, we get to talk to a couple towns and see
Yeah.
what works really good for
Yeah.
somebody. Somebody big like Conway that has a lot of moving parts,
right.
and maybe even ask Dave too
He
about
yeah.
that, because
He'd be
obviously
the guy,
It'd be a good, yeah.
maybe for a definition of a shed.
might be
And
helpful.
I think it should be a minimum square footage too. I mean, if you've got just a small 4x8 shed, do you need a permit for that?
So we talked about this before, that all structures and buildings in Albany require a building permit. That helps us pick them up in the assessing process, because any shed, whether, like in Wolfboro, you don't need one for under 200 square feet, so I just built a big 10 by 20 shed.
Mhm.
But it's gonna get picked up and assessed, but that's because everything there gets assessed annually, like they're looking at stuff all the time. We don't have somebody who's out here all the time, so our biggest way to pick up assessing is by building permits. So that would be my guess of why we required a building permit for everything, no matter the size. Plus, we're also getting into this thing with these hoop garages that, you know, they say they're temporary, but then they pour a concrete slab for them and they tie them down and they put a lift in there, and it's really a business. It's a garage. They're
Yeah.
doing work. So I think, I'm not sure I would say under square footage, but I might describe a shed as, you know, under 1,000 square foot, or you know, under 1,000 square foot with less than I don't know, 5,500 square inches of window, because when you put 11 windows and a slider in it, it probably isn't a shed.
Did he take the slider out?
He took the slider out. He's saving it for the bunkhouse, though. He did tell me he took the slider out and has set it aside for the bunkhouse.
Hey, all we want him to do is do it right.
And
Yeah.
he's
I
working
mean,
at it,
it's,
so
Yeah, he got right on it. He had 30 days and he's right on it.
he's learned
so.
his lesson.
Yeah, I think the definitions, and I don't know that you really even maybe want to describe a shed. I think you let the people say it's a shed, and when they put 11
Well-
windows in it, and a kitchen and a bathroom, you say,
I think one of the biggest things is a second dwelling on 2 acres or more property. If, we need to define what that's,
Well,
That other
if
comment is-
somebody can live in it, it's called an ADU, and we don't allow that.
I thought,
Spelled out.
but the definition of living in it is, I mean,
and I thought,
like a bunkhouse, they're gonna sleep in it or whatever, but.
Yeah, but that's a pre-existing,
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general
Non-conforming.
for
you
the
couldn't
rest of
do
the
that.
residents.
You couldn't do that for a new bunkhouse, let's put it that way.
I think we should also have the planning board just review that, because my understanding was that state law required that you allow ADUs somewhere in your zoning.
Yes,
You
I
didn't
can
have
do
to,
that.
you didn't have to allow it everywhere, but there had to be a zone that allowed ADUs.
We allow it in our residential zones, but not a separate building.
Detached, it has to be
It has to be attached.
In a certain amount of square footage, I forget.
Yeah.
So anyways, they're gonna
We're
work
gonna
on
look
that
at it,
definition.
yeah, I think that might help. I think now that we have a code enforcement officer, it's gonna be helpful to pin down some of these things so that he can enforce.
We have no non-public, and our next meeting is Wednesday, June 26th.
So remember, you have a special town meeting immediately following your selectmen's meeting that night to fix the procedural defect in the warrant that, so the supervisor, the checklist have to be here, people have to check in.
Is there a time scheduled for it?
Is that, I thought it was fine.
I think I made it 5:30.
Yeah.
The notice is posted. as
That's
we
what I
were-
remember.
I believe it's 5:30, and the moderator has to be here, the town clerk has to take minutes. Basically, you know, in the selectmen's meeting before it, I'll coach you guys, somebody just needs to make a motion to ratify all the votes that took place at the misposted dated meeting, cause I misposted it for June 5th instead of June 12th. So you just have to ratify those votes. You don't have to read the votes over, don't get into any of that, you can't do anything else at this meeting.
Why don't you ask Matt to write up a motion? That's
Cause I've
correct.
already written it, you want me to just send it to Matt?
Yeah, just make
I
sure
talked
we're,
to DRA about what they needed to ratify our warrant,
Oh, you-
and so I've already talked to the Department of Revenue for what I need.
that should be
I
good
wrote-
enough.
I wrote the motion, I can
Right.
send it to Matt if that makes you feel better.
If they okayed it, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just,
Okay.
I'd hate to go through this meeting and only to find out that we left
That's what
something
I
out
said
or
to
we
her,
didn't
that's-
state it right.
That's why I
Um,
called her, cause I was starting to have like bad dreams about,
Yeah, yeah,
oh my
no,
God,
if-
I'm not having a third
No,
town
if she
meeting.
approved that, I
Yeah.
think that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
she's seen it, Matt has seen it, cause she suggested sending it to Matt. So they've seen the warrant for it, and basically the motion is just the
Yeah.
warrant in a motion form.
I don't wanna have a second town meeting,
Third,
or a third.
this would be your third, this would be your second, that would be your third if I mess it up again.
Are we filming up there tonight?
No.
Okay. Alright,
Do you want me to go see if they're ready to come in and give you a,
Did we close the meeting?
no,
not yet, I'm not gonna adjourn your meeting, cause you're gonna meet with him.
I wanna wait till Mark gets here. I told him, and Nick too, he's expecting here for 5:15. And I got checks to sign anyway. Thank you. If that's all we have, everyone's all set, I make a motion to adjourn.
You don't wanna adjourn if
No,
you're gonna
we'll
take up
recess.
business with Mark McConkey, that's a selectmen's meeting and it needs to be
I'm
recorded.
sorry, you're right.
So you're gonna need to leave
I
the meeting
withdraw my
open.
motion to adjourn.
Well, you could make a motion to recess it till 5:15.
That way we can at least leave the room and
Pete?
mill about.
P,
I make a motion to reconvene at
Recess.
recess and reconvene at 5:15.
There you go.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.